Distinguished guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride that I welcome each and every member of this eminent gathering to the 6th Annual Forevermark Forum in this charming, erudite, and historic city of Calcutta. I'm gratified to see our esteemed partners in the audience, and I thank you all for taking off time and be here with us. In today's time and age, to commit yourself for 2 to 3 days is a big sacrifice, and we totally appreciate the same. For all of us at De Beers, we highly value your commitment, and your presence means a lot to us. Your continued presence also validates the fact that the Forevermark Forum is a unique platform for the key players in the diamond industry to exchange ideas, disseminate information, highlights our faith in the power of dialogue, and the sense that we have as a community. Over the years, we've moved to make the forum to a truly knowledge share platform and bring out the view of the future. So please make the most of this. I encourage you all to absorb as much from this platform as we are all here to learn from one another and really build up this common purpose that we're here for, that's a better and a stronger diamond business. This year, we have over 400 participants representing 200 organizations from all over the globe. Please join me in welcoming our growing partners from almost all parts of India, our esteemed partners from Middle East, our partners from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Belgium, USA, and Canada. I also extend this courtesy to our senior colleagues and members from United Kingdom, Italy, China, Botswana, and Singapore. This is a sign that the forum has truly become a global platform. This year, the theme of the forum is Innovate, Inspire, Illuminate. What do these words mean, and why are these the most important in the current time period? Before I get on to elaborating the theme, let me ask you a question. What does your business sell? G2H color, loose polished, fancy shapes, fancy colors, VVS to SI clarity, 4-grainers? For some of you, the answer might be all of the above. But in a very important sense, I would suggest the answer be none of the above. Because in the diamond business, we don't sell crystallized carbon. We sell meaning, we sell love, and we sell emotion. And what we sell needs to be and is inherently valuable because it's bought to reflect the emotions, events, and ideals that are valuable to our consumers. And we as diamond people are really lucky to represent and sell a category that has a history like none other. Every diamond has a deeper connection and meaningfulness than its physical properties. And it is innately connected to the memories and life occasions. All that we do, mining, sorting, cutting, polishing, designing, manufacturing, and retailing, directs to the most important occasion, and that is when a father walks into your store looking to buy a pair of diamond bangle for his only daughter's wedding, or when a husband walks into your store looking to buy a pair of diamond solitaires for his wife on their 10th anniversary. You know, that moment is the reason why we are here, and we want to improvise it and get better at. I urge that all of us have to feel joyful and proud of what we enable. You know, we enable that smile. We enable that heart-touching feeling. You know, you have to gain confidence that through you, right at this moment at your store, somebody is building the history, and somebody is experiencing the most memorable occasion of their lifetime. Moving closer to the theme, and why we believe that the relevance of innovating, inspiring, and illuminating is paramount in today's time. I believe that to innovate, to inspire, and to illuminate is a continuous process. It's a journey, and we need to answer just one person. And you know, that person is your biggest opponent and your biggest ally, your own self. We have to have this faith that we're constantly evolving and doing better, both in small ways and big ways, because change is not an option anymore. It is a must for us to flourish and excite our businesses forward. I will touch upon two paramount reasons today. And that's one is permanence, and the second is the world around us. Let's talk about permanence. When you look at the Fortune 100 list about 10 years back, and when you look at the list in 2017, a lot of these organizations have disappeared. This aspect is happening at the world stage, and our industry too is a privy to this aspect. A lot of organizations that were powerhouses in retailing and manufacturing haven't been able to maintain their position of strength. No organization is born with the right or title to be the market leader forever. There has to be a lot done across the years to remain a leader. I would like to talk about this wonderful organization that I work for and I feel exceptionally proud about, and that's De Beers. De Beers has been on the forefront of shaping the diamond business for over 125 years, right from the times when it was founded in 1888 to the time of setting up consolidated mines in 1926, to facing the World War crisis, to the most iconic year for the industry and for India, the year 1947, where we came out with the slogan, "A diamond is forever." And fast forwarding to current times of the 90s and 2000s, where we built up a lot consumer demand, to setting up Forevermark, where we bring in transparency and confidence to this new age consumer, and a business model that is unique and relevant for today's time period, to now developing cutting edge technology for the industry to deal with synthetics. All these aspects have been fundamental to this perpetual existence of De Beers. We know the world is evolving, and to stay around for long term, we have to imagine a completely different future and take actions and decisions that don't just impact your today, but also your tomorrow. Building a long-term business a few decades ago could have been possible by keeping on doing the things that you do well. But in today's time period, you have to envisage your business as a completely different one. You have to be constantly curious, try out new approaches, involve the young in deciding, ask more questions, and all these approaches are must if you are planning to pass on this magnificent business to the next generation. There are numerous examples of organizations who have been leaders in their own spaces and have continued to evolve. There have been others who have stayed same and have seen their leadership position gone in front of their own eyes. The second area I'd like to talk about is dynamic environment in which we live and how innovation is impacting our daily lives. I would like to share some insights of and pointers from the outside world and industry which will impact us much, much faster, and how different industries are moving ahead with innovation and inspiration. I was a part of a conference where Mr. Murthy of Infosys showed the Infosys campus. He mentioned that there are 22,000 people working in this campus, and with the advent of artificial intelligence, the amount of work that this entire team churns out will be delivered by 190 people in precisely half that time. There's a lot happening in artificial intelligence, even in retail. We all need to be aware of these and incorporate them in our business. Elon Musk, who's the founder of SpaceX and Tesla, while on his passion to create alternative energy forms, he has started work on figuring out human colonization on Mars. And while a concept like this a few years ago might sound like a dreamer's mind, but in today's time period, he has set out a clear time frame as to when this will happen. Google launched last year one of its most interesting apps called the Google Arts and Culture. They are in the process of digitizing all museums, all works of art, all monuments across the globe, and these will be viewable on gigapixel technology on a touch of your smartphone. You can search paintings by color, blue paintings, red paintings. You can search them by mood, happy paintings, sad paintings, and I'm certain there will be an impact of how our consumers will search our products in the coming future, and that will be in the vocabulary that they are comfortable in. We all have accounts on Facebook where I've got random requests on Farms Villa and Candy Crush Saga, do this, do that. We all weren't very happy on responding to those requests, honestly. But, these two were both very simple games, but got socially viral. Two stark realities. The founders of both these games are worth $10 billion each. That's a whopping 65,000 crores. But most importantly, over 50% of the addicted players on these games are women aged 30 to 50 who are spending a minimum of 3 hours every day on these games. And we are wondering, why is the ad that we put in the magazine not having any response? So there are some incredible innovations happening in retail. The usage of augmented reality, usage of mirror walls, the way search is happening within stores, seamlessness of information share with consumers between retail, online, omni-channel, within homes, within stores. The point I'm trying to make is that there is a commonality amongst all these approaches. They have been ahead in the curve of anticipating the consumer's need much before the consumer really needed it. We need to be observant of the lives our consumers are leading and how new aspects will impact them. Moving closer to our industry, when you think about the product, the diamonds, and what they mean to people who give them, what they mean to people who wear them, or people who mine them or manufacture them, it is extremely important for us to understand that diamonds are precious, they're rare, they're finite, and have an enduring value. So we at De Beers are compelled as the world's leading diamond company to create whatever needs to be done to protect that preciousness and create meaningfulness to today's consumer and connect to their lives that they're leading today. The question is, are we all doing enough to constantly evolve and be future ready? And that's a job for everybody sitting in this room today. As we all are a common part of this pursuit, we need to understand that every relationship is different. Every consumer, or rather every person, loves something, aspires for something, and perhaps has lost something. We need to know that consumers have differentiated needs and desires. The answer to this is different approaches, different strategies, different product, and different messages. Today, a consumer who walks into your store with a budget of 5 lakh rupees looking to buy a pair of diamond bangle has a completely different motivation than a consumer who walks into your store with just a credit card, living a virtual life, has more reasons to buy a product, but needs a compelling reason, a storytelling, some modern retail therapy to indulge in our category. I'll also touch upon one more area that's been of common discussion amongst all of us, and that's the role of internet in our business. Consumers today have constant access to information. They are spending a seamless life between real world and online world. Opinions are getting more and more democratic. How many likes on your post has become the new measure of one's popularity and social acceptance. The impact of traditional forms of media is completely diluting. And there's a lot of discussion about addiction on the digital world, and not just millennials, but all generations are hooked onto this virtual world. Now, what does this mean to our business? For a minute, if I were to imagine a world where all physical stores migrate to e-commerce and precious jewelry is available only online, I think this business will perish in a decade. We at De Beers strongly feel about the physicality in our business, the relevance of your physical stores. We believe that our product is an emotional product. Consumers will touch and feel our product. They will surprise one another, and they will want to be certain as to how they feel, inside their hearts when they put the diamond solitaires on. The key for us is to understand how we need to evolve our retail stores, create meaningful and engaging content online, look at business beyond the four walls, and be meaningfully a part of this new life. At Forevermark, we are working with a lot of experts across the globe, and you will witness a lot of ideations that we have in the brand area, and a lot of ideations that I will share with you in the next few minutes, which are attempts for all of us to be ready to deal with this new changing world and evolving digital and e-commerce space. A diamond is forever. Hira hai sada ke liye. This has been the last century's most effective advertising slogan, which connected diamonds and eternal love in the minds of the consumer. It wasn't that diamonds last for so long because they are the hardest substance on earth, but rather the sense of timelessness reflects the perfect nature of long-term relationships. This line for us at De Beers is more than an advertising slogan. It is a perfect encapsulation of the truth that we sell far more than the physical product, and we know diamonds are unique, they're rare, and have deep meaning in the lives of the consumers. We are witnessing clear trends of shifting roles of meaningfulness of diamonds in our consumers' lives. We increasingly see diamonds as a symbol of self-expression. There are more and not less occasions that matter, which can be marked by the magic of diamonds. For women, diamonds are reflecting a sense of pride, being independent, being free, being successful, and diamonds can play a very important role in this self-expression. There is certainly a lot changing and evolving, and we must be able to capitalize on the meaningfulness of what diamonds encompass to this modern age consumer. And that's what exactly brands can help you achieve. Brands are the vessels in which meanings are carried. They are the vehicles through which diamond messages are conveyed. They are the tools to transport diamond's latent story in the minds of the consumers, and we believe that Forevermark, amongst the world's most powerful brands, is doing exactly that job. It brings with us over 125 years of De Beers expertise and turning consumer insight into meaning for the consumers. Going back in time, when we conceptualized Forevermark, we knew the issues of consumer confidence. We knew synthetics will become a large play. We envisaged that consumers will get more and more interested in provenance and ethics, and not just diamonds, but brands and stronger collaborations will be the answer to deal with this new reality. And hence, Forevermark is our step to innovate, is a step to inspire, and is a step to illuminate. At this stage, I'd like to show you a short video which encapsulates all that we've achieved together with each and every one of you. Can I please have the video of the year that was?
piece was the impeccable craftsmanship. The fact that Forevermark has such strong, stringent policies of anti-bribery, there are stringent policies of ethical sourcing. It made me feel very reassured that I was doing the right thing.
All that Forevermark stands for. And that's grace, its beauty, its timelessness, its classic opulence, its contemporary aesthetic, but most of all, it is love.
So Forevermark stands for quality, and I believe in quality over anything else.
Forevermark brand for me stands for everything that a diamond stands for.
Every Forevermark diamond are rare, they're beautiful, and they're very responsibly sourced.
Forever for me means shine bright, something that is a mark of elegance and a lot of glamour.
Forever for me is my little baby Nisha's smile.
So I'd like to give a big round of applause to all of you because we achieved all of this along with you. Mr. Stephen LUSSIER is the CEO of Forevermark Global. A lot of you are familiar with Stephen. He's been a part of this long permanence that I referred to, and he's been a stalwart at De Beers from a very long time. He has been the one person who's led Forevermark to become a most important phenomenon in the global diamond business. He also is the chairman of the Diamond Producers Association, which is going to lead the promotion of generic marketing in our markets in this upcoming season. It is my pleasure to invite Stephen on stage. Please join me in giving him a big round of applause, Mr. Stephen LUSSIER. Welcome, Stephen.
Good afternoon. Wow, you guys have really been busy since I've been here last year. I hadn't realized, Sachin, quite so many activities that the Indian team, together with all of our partners, have been executing, but it's extraordinarily exciting to see it all in one place. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit to try to bring some perspectives that I've seen from markets around the world that I think could potentially be impactful here in future, and which, if we plan for now, we can thrive as a result. But I think to start, I'm reminded of this Chinese proverb. Actually, I think technically it's called a Chinese curse. And sometimes the Chinese say they didn't even invent the slogan. But this concept of may you live in interesting times. The concept of interesting times was mean actually quite difficult times, challenging times. And there's no doubt that if we look over the past 18 months in India, but globally, well, they've been interesting times for you. You know, you had the PAN cards, you had demonetization, you've now got the GST. At the same time in the diamond world, you know, we've seen the impact of the digital distribution channels on profits and price and margin. We've seen millennial consumers who behave differently than their generations which preceded them. It's a time of quite a lot of change. But I think the key to looking at a time of a lot of change is to think within that there is always opportunity for those who can see where the future is headed and to capitalize and act on it quickly. And recently I went to a presentation, some of you in the room were there, the Business Excellence Seminar that De Beers held with its site holders in London, and there was a speaker named Vijay Govindarajan. He said, just call me VG. And VG is a professor at Dartmouth University, the business school in the US. And VG gave what I thought across all the 36 years that I've seen business strategy presentations, he gave what was both the simplest, the clearest, and the most, to me, motivating presentation about business strategy than I've ever seen. And I wanted to share just a little bit of that with you because I think it's so important to what we're all trying to do together with Forevermark and the diamond business here in India. And the core, I'll put them up together. The core of his strategy was this concept of 3 boxes. And he has these 3 boxes: manage the present, selectively forget the past, and create the future. Very simple idea. And then VG said, you know, he visits companies all over the world. And the first thing he says to them when he goes in is, could you show me your strategy, please, your strategy document? And he says 99% of the time, what he's given is not a strategy document. It's a 5-year forecast of the present looking forward. So they take what they're doing now and they say, then we're going to do this and this and this and incrementally get better. And he says that's important stuff, but it is not strategy. That's what he calls managing the present, box 1. Remember that concept, box 1 thinking. Very important to do. You need to always be working on optimizing the present, but it's not the same thing as strategy. Strategy is about box 2 and box 3. And he had 2 examples that I think illustrate this so clearly for me. The one was about the transportation business. And he talked about traveling from London to New York in the late 18th century. And he said, by then, those days, you traveled by ship, and beginning by sailboat. It would take about 4 weeks to get from New York from London to New York then. So they set out on optimizing that box 1. And the big innovation was to go from sails to engines, steam engines. So they got, by 1905, they were down to about 5 days. And then they kept optimizing. Then they got it to 4.5 days in 1934, record crossing. Today, optimizing, they can do it in about 4 days if you go on the QE2 from London to New York. So that's fantastic optimization. Haven't they done extraordinarily well? They've gone from 4 weeks to 4 days. The problem is somebody else was thinking about box 3. They invented a plane and they can do it in 6 hours. So all that optimizing actually has not won the transportation battle. It's been won by the planes with a whole new approach. And that's the difference between box 1 and box 3. And then his other great example, which I'm sure 95% of you in the room have somehow participated in, which again made it clear, was the simple concept of the high jump. Now, when you were in school, did you have to do the high jump? If you were as old as me, when you did the high jump, you would have done what's called the scissors. You run up to the bar, one leg goes over, the other leg goes over, and you end up standing on the other side. The famous scissor jump. VG plotted the Olympic gold medal heights that people achieved over the last century, starting with the scissors. And you see on the left, they were optimizing the scissors. It went from, that looks like about 1.85 meters to a little, maybe 1.9 over that period of time. So his lesson was there's only so far you could go in optimizing that behavior until you think that's a box 1. The scissor guys were getting better and better. Somebody then thought box 3 and invented a new way. First was the Western roll. You can see, then they optimized it. Then the straddle came in, optimized it. In the end, the big breakthrough with the Fosbury flop, which nearly doubles the height of the scissors. You could do all the optimizing in the world on the scissors, and you were never going to get as high as the flop. And that's the difference between box 1 and box 3. So yeah, we need to think hard about optimizing, because if you stop optimizing, you're going to get beat today. But if you only optimize, someone else is going to come in with a box 3 thinking, and you're going to be left behind. In the Olympics today, there are no scissor jumpers. There are only Fosbury floppers. So we need to think about what that's going to be like in the future. And the last thing he said, which I think really can crystallize for all of us in this room action, is he said, so let me talk about box 3. If I want you to think about box 3, don't talk to me about what you're doing today. Talk to me about what your business is going to be 10 years from now. What's it going to be like in 2027? What things do you need to be doing in 2027 to be successful? Because somebody else is going to be moved from the scissors of today to the flop by 2027. And if you're still doing the scissors, you're going to be left behind. I thought that was so clear, and to focus our thinking around the future. And importantly, well, we didn't know it really at the time, when we didn't know it was about box 1 and box 3. When De Beers were working on the concept of Forevermark, we were thinking very much about box 3. What could we do that would prepare us for 10 years from now and give us the potential to fundamentally change the way that the business is done? Now, I want you to hold that thought just for a minute, the box 3 idea. Remember it. For a moment, I'm going to talk a little bit about what is not going to change over that period of time, and Sasha has touched on it a little bit. You might think, what does this picture possibly have to do with the diamond industry and what's not going to change? And actually, what's happening in that picture? The one on the right is my son Sam, now 13 years old. The one on the left is Frankie Dettori, champion jockey, and this was just after Sam's grandfather's horse had won the biggest race in the UK 2 summers ago. So actually, Frankie Dettori has nothing to do with my story, but I like the picture, so I put it up there for you. But I thought you'd remember it. The story is about Sam, sort of. Now, Sam is my 3rd son, and when my wife was pregnant with Sam, she said to me, you're going to have 3 boys. For the 3rd boy, you're going to have to pay up, Stephen. I want this Cartier watch that I have wanted for 20 years, and when the 3rd boy comes, you're going to buy me the watch. I said, okay, fair enough. You've earned the watch. I'll buy you the Cartier watch. And it was about 2 weeks after Sam was born, and we were sitting in the cinema waiting for the movie to start, and she turned to me and said, Stephen, I don't want that watch. No, first she said, Stephen, the watch. I said, yeah, I know you want the watch. I'm definitely going to get you the watch. Don't worry, I know I haven't done it yet. We'll go in the next week and we'll pick out the watch. She said, actually, I don't want the watch. What do you mean you don't? You've been going on for, decades about wanting this watch. What do you mean you don't want the watch? She said, I've decided instead I want a diamond. And the most important thing she then said was, I want a diamond because when Sam gets married, I can give him that diamond and I can say, your father gave me this when you were born. It'll be special, it'll be emotionally significant. And I can't do that with a watch. It's just a watch. And that's summed up to me, and it is so true with every generation. And what Sachin was saying as well, it is the fundamental thing we must always keep. A diamond must have a non-financial, non-status, non-fashion, emotional meaning. And if it has that meaning, we will survive across every generation. We will thrive across every generation and across every culture, because the need to express that exists everywhere. And other luxury goods would kill to have that benefit, to kill to be able to symbolize and represent that emotion. So our task very much is to keep that alive in every culture and amongst every generation. And if we keep that alive, we have the opportunity, I would say we have the foundation for a successful future. And that's where the DPA, the Diamond Producers Association, comes into play, I think, a more important role going forward. Now, as Sachin said, with my many hats, one of them, I'm chairman of the Diamond Producers Association, and I've got a very simple mission for that, and that's to keep this emotional symbolism, to build it and to keep it alive everywhere. And with the support here in India as well of the GJEPC, who's been a strong supporter, together with the other producers, we've substantially increased our spend around the DPA, marketing investment, and will be a strong player in India in the second half of this year with that core emotional meaning that uniquely belongs to the diamond. And I think that's a great foundation. I should say it's a great foundation, but it's not enough anymore for your individual success. It'll take us along the path, huh? It's very useful. It'll keep box 1 alive. It'll make box 3 possible, but it doesn't deliver box 3. That's going to take a bit more, and that, I think, is where Forevermark comes in. The other thing that VG said to us at this forum in London was he said, it's not so easy, huh? 2027, what's it going to be like? How do I know what things I'm going to do in 2027 that I need to do to be ready for 2027? How do I know what I do now? I might be wrong. I might do the wrong things. Instead of doing the Fosbury flop, I might invent something and it doesn't work. How do I know what to do? And of course, that's what makes business interesting. You need insight. You need risk. It's not all obvious, but that's what separates those who succeed from those who don't. But he did say, you don't completely need a crystal ball. He said most of the things that will be really important in 2027 are already there somewhere today. They may not be the biggest thing, but they're there. People are already trying them. And our task is to try to see them, and that helps us prepare and predict and place our bets on the future. And we call them clues. So what are the clues in 2017 that can become, for us, the reality in 2027 that we prepare for now? And I think we have one really significant advantage in the diamond business, jewelry business here in India, and a perspective that I'm fortunate to have is that I can see what's happening all around the world. And I suspect at least some of those things that are happening today and are really significant today in our largest markets, take the US, and we'll look at that in a little detail, that those things could be clues to what's going to happen in India in the future. And if we look and learn from them, we can actually make them work for us rather than being, in some ways, the challenges that they've been for many jewelers and jewelry firms in America, where they haven't had the time perhaps to prepare sufficiently, or at least they didn't see the clues 10 years back and are now racing to try to catch up. So I'm going to share with you a few what I think are critical factors that are influencing the American jewelry business. You can decide whether you think these are things that are going to be important in 2027 in India, or are already important, or maybe some of them not likely to be an issue for you. You know that better than us. My gut feeling is they're all to some degree going to come here, and 2027 may be optimistic about how long it takes to actually impact. But let's talk about one of them. If I go to an American jeweler, American today is still the largest diamond market in the world. Nearly half the sales of diamonds are bought by Americans in the consumer market. Growing pretty consistently. Little dip during the recession in 2009, but if you look over a long period of time, growing. Still growing last year, 4 or 5%. Still likely to grow 4 or 5% this year. You'd probably say, well, that all sounds pretty good. If I stop any American jeweler and say, how is it? It must be good. What does he say to me? He says, can't make money. Yeah, I can sell them. Can't make money. I can't make profit on diamonds. And what he's really saying is that if all the tools he has, and he's learning this, if he only has generic diamonds without a story, without a differentiation, if he only has a generic diamond, he can't get the prices he used to get because the internet has disrupted his ability not to sell diamonds, but to sell them at a margin that allows him to be profitable. And certification, the combination of generic diamonds and generic certification has made that more difficult, because that's when you go on the internet, you see the Blue Nile pricing, they come into the store with the pricing, they want the same price. They want to buy in store, but they don't want to pay more than that price. And he's armed with nothing. This is an issue which is going to be an issue for everyone. It's coming, we see it now coming into China in a greater degree than before. It's going to come everywhere. So we need to think, if in 2027 this is like a scissor behavior, selling diamonds this way is doing the scissors, someone's going to come and do the Fosbury flop on you. You really need to think, It's a real clue, it's already there. Brands is a big clue. Now, you might say, I would say that, wouldn't I? I'm CEO of Forevermark. We want to be the biggest diamond brand. But I can tell you that the brand story is powering its way through other parts of the world as well. In Japan today, diamond engagement rings are almost entirely branded. There's hardly one sold that doesn't come with a more emotional branded story. In China, Chinese wedding consumers tell us they want brands because they trust in brands. Brands stand behind their product. A brand is something to be trusted. In buying diamonds, you need trust. Brands are very strong there. America has probably been the country for the longest time where the big global brands struggle to succeed, struggle to make inroads. But it's changing, and it's changing rapidly. A decade ago, less than 5% of American brides said that the diamond that they received for their engagement ring was branded. So 95%, what I showed you before, generic. In our latest survey, nearly 40% of all brides said that their diamond was branded. Now, it may be a good brand, maybe not a good brand, but the concept in their head is that they're buying now a differentiated product. So brands, to me, the clue is out there, and I think that's good for all of us in the room, because we're all in the branded world now with Forevermark. But it's going to grow, and we need to foster it and develop it to ride that wave. Social responsibility, transparency. There are different words for it, but the meaning is very much still the same. We see this from millennial consumers, much more than older consumers. Young consumers today, and it's not unique to diamonds, across all product categories and particularly in luxury, because to buy a luxury seems a little bit sort of selfish in this world of less materialism and less status that we see worldwide trend amongst millennials. But if it's consumerism with a purpose, with a value that creates a benefit to society, that's a wave that's growing. So we need to think in the diamond sector, how do we ride that wave? Again, obvious, I'll come back, Forevermark meets that brief, but it's an important one to remember. Consumers will ask you more, tell me about this product. What did it do? What benefit did it create? What benefit have you created in selling it to us? We can see that clue. Those who get this right are going to be winners. The retail experience. I think this is probably the most important challenge our sector has. And again, Sachin's reference, we think that the future continues to lie in people buying diamond jewelry in stores. We think they have a big advantage. But if we don't have really compelling stores, we're going to lose consumers to other sectors, not just to the digital world. And stores all over the world are really being disrupted by the digital phenomenon. It doesn't matter what country you're in, you're reading about retailers, big established retailers who are struggling for their existence because their business is so disrupted. And the crucial thing to succeed, if you're, as we are going to be, I think, a store-based marketplace, doesn't mean we don't need to have important digital stuff. I'll come on to that in the next point. But we need to make our stores really magnets for consumers. You know, too often I hear people say, not so much in India today, it's the good news. I hear in America people say, oh, I had to go to the store because I wanted to get a diamond. I had to get through that experience. Like it's a negative. Going and buying it is a negative part of having to get it. If that's true, it'll all go to digital. But if the store experience is a value-adding part, you want to go into the store because the experience is joyful, then that becomes part of the process. And I'm going to tell you a short, again, sorry the personal stories, but I think that always makes me understand better the difference between magnets per store and digital. Living in London, what's the one thing you really need? Probably an umbrella, but not an umbrella, you need a raincoat. It rains a lot. You need a good raincoat, and I needed a new one. So I went off to Selfridges, the department store, because I thought there's a good place. They have all the little boutiques. I don't know what kind of raincoat I want, and I could see them all in one place in one afternoon, try them on. And so I went and did the whole bit, and I decided I wanted this Burberry raincoat. And they didn't have my size in the color that I wanted in the style, but I could try on one. It was like the wrong color, and I could try another one on. It was the color, but not the style. So anyway, we worked it out. And they said, don't worry, you just write down. We'll write down the codes, and then when you go home, you go online and order it, and it'll come the next day. And so off I went home to do it, got it up on the website. There it was. All I had to do was press the button, and it would be in my house in a day. So there's the ultimate digital experience. And just before I hit the button, I thought, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ring the store, the flagship store, and I'm going to go tomorrow to the flagship store and get my coat there. And I did that. And I wondered afterwards, why did I do that? What was it that made me want to go into the convenience? I've just surrendered hours of time. And we're all pretty busy, a couple of hours is a lot. And it's the same coat. And I thought, in the end, I just want a little bit for my extraordinary amount of money that you have to pay for a Burberry raincoat. I want like the full Burberry benefit. I want the cappuccino that the guy's going to give me. When I put it on, I want the very pretty sales assistant to say, oh, you look so good in that. I wanted to soak in a bit of the brand, the feeling of it. And I thought afterwards, actually, that made that coat worth more to me than just getting the coat. And that's the lesson I think that we have to take for the jewelry world. It has to be more than just the product you leave with. The experience of getting it has to be something that makes you inherently happy as well. And people will pay for happiness in this life. And there are, I guess, a few key tools to that in that experience. One is power of people. It is no doubt the single most important thing is the salespeople, yourself, if you're dealing with customers, and the salespeople in the store. It's the thing that makes you comfortable, makes you happy, makes you feel smart in what you're selecting, makes you feel confident, makes you feel welcome. It's so important. And again, I urge you guys, in your regular business life, just always think when you go into some place, where did I like that? Where did I like those people? Where did I not like it? I mean, I spend lots of times flying on airlines. I can give you the list in rank order, which airlines have the good service and which ones have the bad. You just feel it, and you just want to go on the ones with the good. This hotel, the service here is extraordinarily good. I noticed that. I've noticed how good they are, how attentive. Everybody is asking me, when I was getting my meal, the chef comes out and says, oh, how is that? Oh, and he runs behind to get me something else. They're all interested in making me happy. So what? I'll come back. If I come back to Calcutta, where am I going to stay? I'll stay here. If it was ordinary and Sachin says, oh, we've got some other hotel, oh, okay, I'd go there. Service is just everything in this day and age. The other thing I think is important is around the store telling a story about what your brand, our brand, and our product is about. And when I say a store telling a story, that's a little bit the Burberry thing. I wanted to go in because I wanted to feel part of that Burberry world. But the way to go in is to say, if you go into your store, do it in your own store. Think if you come in here for the very first time, and no one can speak to you, so salespeople can't say anything. All you can do is look. Can you then articulate what this place is about? My biggest challenge often is I say, in Diamonds, we're about love, emotion, commitment, warmth, about the future. I want to walk in, and with no one saying anything to me, and not looking at any of the product in the displays, those are the words I want to feel. When I go into a Ralph Lauren store for a polo shirt, I can assure you I feel like I'm in sort of English aristocrat or some English public school boy. It has that feeling. You just feel it. The furniture feels like that. Everything feels like that. I'm buying into that brand. That's why I go there. It reinforces what we are. So, does it feel like love, warmth, emotion, and commitment in our environments? I leave that question there. Those who create that, I think they'll be magnets for consumers. And the last retail point I want to leave you with is this concept of the wonder moment. The wonder moment. We learn this from millennials. There needs to be one moment in that store selling experience that creates the wonder, the wow, that you can only get in store. Can't get it online. You can search for designs, you can learn about qualities, you can learn about the brands, you can go way down the shopping experience, but in store there has to be something that's a wow. And technology can help us a lot with that, to create the wow. We know when someone sees the inscription on a Forevermark diamond, they feel that wow. They say, wow. It's a wonder moment, but we can do so much more. Sachin has purposefully organized quite a lot of inspiration, call it technological inspiration, around the forum. And I urge you, look at it and just think creatively. How could I do something like that? How could I use something like that to create a wonder moment? You know what the simplest wonder moment is? And if you don't all have this in your store, you better get back and do it on Friday. You better have some place in that store where people can take a selfie, or you can take the picture for them in the store when they bought. What do we see? The highest posted in America, the highest posted Facebook image in the diamond sector is the moment when they got the ring in store. So where's the backdrop? Huh? Where's the emotion? Where's the Forevermark logo that could appear in there? So when it goes out on the Facebook world, think about it. They want to take that picture, make an environment. It's a wonder moment for them that they remember evermore. Most importantly, they share it. So there's a lot we can do, but if we don't do it, if we don't think about box 3 in terms of the in-store world, and we stay in the box 1, we're going to be scissors when somebody's going to Fosbury flop us. And if it's a different industry that does the flop, then we lose that business to other luxury goods players. So a lot to think about there. My last point about the clues for the future is digital. And I won't go on at length about this because Sachin's touched on it and we'll see much more of it as we go. But it's completely clear to me that marketing, not necessarily selling in our sector, but marketing in our sector, this is where the battle is going to be. This is where we need, as an industry, to be expert at to succeed. Other industries are really investing in this capability. Luxury goods have generally come late to it, but investing now significantly in the skills. Forevermark is investing in these capabilities and these skills. And if in your teams you don't have people who are expert in this area of social media, of banners, of paid search, you better get them. These are the marketing heads of the 2027 Box 3 future. And actually for our industry, it's great news. This digital marketing for us is great news because we're a high interest category. We're not bought every day, infrequently purchased, and we're expensive. Consumers will search in the digital world for information about diamonds and diamond jewelry. Much more so than if we were trying to sell them a candy bar or something. They think, why should I waste any time? But actually, with our product, we've got a great opportunity. But we need to really excite them when they get there. And we need to be in that world. Otherwise, we'll lose their top-of-mind awareness. Sachin will talk at length about things we're doing. But it's so critical. So to sum up, I think, I love this box 1 and box 3 language. I think it works so well for me. Forevermark, we think, is both box 1. There's a lot we're doing today. Forevermark in 2017, as Sachin has said, we're 2,300 doors. That's got to be one of the fastest growing brands in the world. We're only less than a decade old worldwide. We've only been in India and America since 2011. So we're gaining huge traction. We should inscribe some 400,000 diamonds this year in our facilities in Surat and Antwerp and Maidenhead. And as Sachin said, last May, we did number 2 million inscription in that short amount of time. So we're growing very rapidly. But there's a lot we can do in box 1 to optimize Forevermark. And a lot of it is here. Design is here. We need new designs to excite customers. We've got to invest in sales training to get our sales staff great. We've got to build the Forevermark areas in our stores to create that environment. We need to be fantastic at the digital marketing world. All of that we've got to keep getting better and better because that's optimizing box 1. But I think Forevermark was designed with 2027 in mind. We're moving beyond the 4 C's. I want to leave the 4 C's behind. That's one thing in box 2 I'm going to get rid of. We don't need the 4 C's. It's about beauty of the diamonds. And that's where we need to focus. We're already on that path. Responsible sourcing is fundamental to Forevermark. We know that's a need for the future. Investing in excitement and wonder for stores is part of the Forevermark future. I think we're thinking very much about 2027. There'll be other things we haven't thought of yet. We've got time to think about them, and we'll keep working on them. But I think it's where the future is, and I think we're all collectively here well-positioned to take advantage of that future. The only thing we really need is commitment. And I guess the last thing for me to say is on behalf of the broader De Beers Group and Forevermark, we are 100% committed to making this Forevermark the world's most powerful diamond brand and core to our business in 2027. Thanks very much.